just wait for him to get back.
By the way, Vandalia, the last few KH1 videos couldn't go up because my computer auto-restarted out of nowhere.
Okay.
They'll be up tonight.
Welcome back.
Yeah, that was weird. What were we saying?
I was just talking about fossils, but I'm done. But yeah, man, the geological evidence and now what about speciation? Because I know a lot of creationists like argue against microevolution, but they don't argue against. They argue a lot against macroevolution because that's what if macroevolution, but if I'm a creationist and if macroevolution is true, then you know that proves evolution theory. So what about speciation?
Well, really, that's not completely true. Either one, like, they both happen, but you don't really need one or the other to prove that it's happening.
Yeah.
Well, speciation usually is how animals do change. They get separated from each other.
Some people seem to think if you can disprove that a certain kind, as they like to put it, turns into another, that it disproves evolution. That's not true. We could show that there are small variations, and that would still show that evolution is happening.
Like they seem to like avoid really defining what evidence for quote unquote macroevolution would be. Like they just assume that we know what the proof for macroevolution would be, when really that seems like a really vague term anyway.
Exactly. Macro and micro are both the same thing. They're not separate.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the same process occurring just over different times.
The only reason that we have different terms for it is really just for a time. That's really about the only reason we have the different terms.
Yeah. And speaking of speciations, I think it was Potholder 54's video. I'm not positive, but he showed like 3 different rabbits in America. Like the middle one could breed with the northern one, and the middle one could breed with the southern one, but the southern northern one couldn't breed at all together.
Yeah. That's like one form of showing how speciation can arise. Because if these were all the same kind, as many creationists might put forward, then they should be able to breed.
They all could get it on.
Exactly. They don't ever define kind. They say it's one animal or the other, but like if you look at the similarities between each species, you know, it's very similar. So you can't, you know, no one is ever going to define kinds.
Cat kind, dog kind.
And that's the biggest problem with the argument that
bacteria kind.
People who understand evolution have, is that there's no solid definition for kinds that has ever been given by a creationist. And besides that fact, even if they did have a defining factor, that it would still be a pointless argument, because we can find a way to link just about any organism in the world.
Yeah, we can always find how a wide array of different creatures can be unified. They can be put in like basically in a group on basically every level. And that's what forms the nested hierarchy. And it's just up to the creationists to show, okay, which group is the kind group, and tell us why we don't get to just put together different kinds to form one bigger kind, and put those bigger kinds into even more bigger kinds with other kinds, etc. It would all just lead back to a nested hierarchy anyway.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem with creation. Probably the biggest problem with creationism is one thing: there's no evidence to support it. None. There's absolutely no evidence to support creationism.
You know what?
None.
You know what's ironic? Kent Hovind's 6 evolutional things, his like 4th one, where life came from non-life. I don't believe that, but they believe that God created humans from dirt. Like isn't that non-life?
That's the biggest irony. You believe we came from a rock. You read the Bible, right? What do you think clay is?
A rock.
It's a rock. Exactly. Clay is derived from rocks. It's called erosion. And God was like, ooh, here's some rocks.
And it's funny because like I think a few weeks ago or a few months ago, Kent Hovind did a video on his YouTube. He put like a few rocks inside of like a water bottle or like a water thing.
Oh,
and then
don't tell me he's trying to prove the flood with it.
No. What he did is he got a bunch of rocks. He put them in. It's like, okay, let's wait a few billion years and then we'll see if it becomes life.
Oh my god. So, how close to 1 billion years did he wait for?
I don't know. The next video he uploaded was like a few hours later. Nothing happened.
Well, a rock didn't turn into an animal after 4 hours. Guess that disproves it. Jesus Christ, I didn't know you could be that stupid.
At least he's not saying that life could appear in a fresh jar of peanut butter.
Wait, I've heard of that argument too. What's the stupidity of that argument? Because I've been seeing it a lot.
I forget who said it, but I think it was in a Pothole 54 video when he was
Isn't
showing
that like the old
if the theory
flies
of
came from
evolution
meat
were true,
theory? Or,
then like I
it's
should
called like, hey,
every
there's
once in a
flies in
while
his meat.
find
Flies
life.
must be born in meat.
He's saying that if evolution were true, he should find life in this new jar of peanut butter. So he opens the peanut butter, and he's like, "Oh look, no life inside."
It probably is. If I use a microscope.
What? So basically, he showed that spontaneous generation makes no sense, therefore evolution.
Spontaneous generation equals abiogenesis.
Like, this just shows how much that the people who refute evolutionary theory do not understand it in the slightest.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's funny is that, like, Airbat Spider, a few months ago when I was, like, arguing on you on YouTube, and I was, like, using the same arguments, it's like I want to apologize for saying those things. I deleted most of my comics on that, so.
So, just kind of wondering, and you guys might have talked about this already while I was busy being a lazy, useless member of society. What was it exactly that made you let go of creationism?
Because it's a psycho-theology, that's why.
Ah.
You said it like built up over time, right?
Yeah. Because actually I was when I first started for a few months or a few years I was a young earth creationist, and then I became an old earth creationist because I wasn't very so I still believe after that I believed that the earth was billions of years old, but I didn't accept evolution theory. And then over time I just built up, and then I'm just like, screw it, I'm not doing this anymore.
Okay. I was wondering if it was like shut up, Gabe. Damn it.